But now, members of the National Assembly will be back in Parliament this afternoon, the first session since the outbreak of coronavirus in the country. Only a few members of the National Assembly are expected to attend the session, going as per Ministry of Health guidelines on social distancing. Let us now speak to our editor, Henry Githaiga, talking to us from a city centre studio. Henry, good morning. We know that only 53 members of Parliament are expected in the chambers this afternoon, rather.
Good morning, Brenda. Yes, it is indeed a different kind of sitting for members of Parliament who will now have to observe the social distancing rules. The chamber wouldn't be big enough to hold all of them, and so this necessitated some amendment or changes to the way the sessions are held, and only 53 of them will be in Parliament today. But the bigger question that has been looming for many Kenyans is, where have the members of Parliament been? The Standard coming out and calling out members of Parliament, asking them to take their responsibility. And if you do remember that the Constitution has changed the mandate of how public finances are spent and incurred, all the way from the budgeting process, putting a heavier burden on Parliament, and Parliament expected to be the one that does restructure most of the budgets, even when we are preparing budgets. And so Kenyans wanted to hear from their members of Parliament and see what kind of solutions they would have. This would include the passing of bills that are required for the stimulus package to be in place.
And Henry, when you talk about the stimulus package that's supposed to be put in place, a lot of debate has been raised about this sort of a proposal.
Yeah, the debate basically ranges from those people who feel that more needs to be done to support those who are in the lower cadre of the economy, especially the casual workers, the people in the hotel industry, the people who would have to earn a daily wage. How do you support them? So far, the measures that have been put in place include pay cuts by the executive, but the public questioning, where are their members of Parliament? Are they going to take a pay cut? And the size of the pay cut will also determine how much money is available to spend. And a lot of Kenyans want to see more measures in place to support those most vulnerable in society. If you would remember that every year in each budget, there is an allocation for those who are vulnerable in society, including the older people and orphans and people who are not able to earn their own living. That is there in every year's budget. So people want to see something different because this cuts across the entire economy, and they want to see more done to protect casual workers, to protect people who are losing their jobs, and also to ensure that the cost of living does not go up. The cost of living was already going up even before the coronavirus hit the country, and now people are afraid that the cost of living may go even higher, and most of them do not have the money to spend. So they are looking to Parliament for leadership, and they want Parliament to come up with more solutions that would drive the change that they want to see.
Right, Henry, and I mean, COVID-19 has affected the country, during our financial year of the budget of 2020-2021. And the government talking about tax waiver for those who are earning 24,000 and below. And how will this actually affect the budget reading in terms of money that's supposed to be spent, owing to the fact that SRC said that county governments do not have the authority to actually even give health workers an allowance?
Actually, the main point here would be that it is the legislature that needs to put measures in place. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money is available. That money cannot be spent if Parliament does not approve that money. And even as far as the budgeting process and what counties are able to do, as much as health is a devolved function, this is a national crisis, actually an international crisis, that will give the Ministry of Health some powers and some leeway in the manner in which this whole crisis is handled. And so they do have, so as much as counties do have a say in how much they are able to compensate health workers, at the end of the day, the buck stops with the Ministry of Health, which will be able to give the guidelines on how this can be done. And it depends actually on what county you're talking about, because some counties are hard hit by the virus, others are not yet hard hit by the virus, and some counties already have a shortage of staff. They would need to hire more people. You remember the CS 2 weeks ago gave the go-ahead for more people to be hired. Where will this money come from? And so Parliament needs to be in place to sort of clear the laws and to put in place the stimulus packages that would enable the government to spend more if need be.
All right, thank you so much, Henry Githaiga, editor, talking to us from a State Centre studio. It's back to work for members of Parliament this afternoon. We'll give you that live coverage when that session begins in the afternoon, and a parliamentary reporter, senior parliamentary reporter, that is Patrick Amimo, will be giving us more details also now.